My name is David Lambus. I am 18 years old and I'm graduating from Ponit CTC High School this summer. But that's a short story. Now let me tell you the real story. I moved in with my grandparents at 3 after my parents divorced. When I started my childhood there, it didn't exactly start well. At a young age, I was sexually assaulted by my brother, physically abused by my father, who ended up being transgender down the road, and I even tried to end my life 4 different times. But after all of that, things started to smooth out for a while, only for me to have my grandma have a stroke. But even through all of it, I was able to keep a smile on my face with the help of a couple of clowns. This is my grandfather, John Lambus. When did you start being a magician and into magic?
Well, it was after I got out of the Army. I had been interested in magic when I was a kid, but hadn't known anyone who did it or knew very much about it. Learned a few tricks here and there, but that's all there was to it. I decided I would like doing it on a full-time basis.
Through everything, my grandparents have been there with a laugh or a smile or a corny joke if it's my grandpa.
I'll find out about it, so I went down to Chicago and I talked to a gentleman there, I can't think of his name right this moment, who owned the magic shops at that time in Chicago, and his wife helped me helped me get some things that I could use as a clown, and also told Mother how to make a costume for me. So she sewed the costume for me, and I went out and I got a wig and a clown suit and went out and was a clown. First time in my life. Formally.
Ever since I can remember, my grandparents were clowns and magicians. I remember that my grandma sort of did her own things too, like skydive and makeup. There were a lot of times when I just didn't want to be around anyone in the family or the house, but my grandparents would sit there and tell me stories about the old days, as they called them, and they would generally pick the favorites I had.
When I was working in Orwell, Ohio, as a teacher at a school, they had a father-daughter dinner at the church. They asked for a magician. I had never done a formal show before, but I put one together, worked out of the books, got the materials I needed, and that's the first time that I performed in front of an audience. It worked out pretty well.
When you and my grandma were clowns, what would you say some of the most fun times as a clown would be?
I don't know. Most of them. It's hard to pick out the really fun ones. We had fun with the parades. Some of them were work.
One of my all-time favorites that they always told me was a story about skydiving. I know also with clowning, some of the stories you used to tell me is that I know you and Grandma both did skydiving.
I don't believe in jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
How did she get into that? What made her want to jump out of a flying plane?
Your Aunt Becky and her then husband, that time, they decided to take skydiving lessons. Grandma just wanted to go along. She thought she'd enjoy doing it. So she went out and she took the skydiving lessons the same time they did. It's because they had decided to go that she went with them. And they all jumped out of the same airplane on the same day. Okay.
Through everything over the past 19 years, my grandparents were always there. I wish I'd been able to get my grandma's memories on this as well, but unfortunately she is currently unable to talk due to another stroke. Am I saying I would ever trade any of my bad past? No, especially if it meant giving up all the relations I've had with my grandparents and all the things we've done and all the experiences I've gotten to have being with them. Never pick up a rock and put down a diamond. And Grandpa, I know you'll be listening, so thank you, and I love both of you for everything you've done.